Good morning and welcome to the another show, another project management show. As usual, we always have a project professionals in our show, and we are trying to give the project professional the insight about the large projects, complicated projects, and so on. And as a part of this journey, today I have Colonel Ajay Singh. So, welcome to this show,
Thank you,
sir.
Abhijit. Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
So let me give a short introduction of Colonel Ajay Singh. Colonel Ajay Singh was heading a very large and complex project called the Palava, LODHA Palava project in near Thane, and this was considered as one of the largest, second largest project, township project in the world. And he was heading that project, and he has delivered 6,000 flats and then big township in a short span of time of almost 4 years. Of course. Colonel will talk about that, but let me tell you that he is much beyond that. He was not just a head of the project, but he was in defense and he had a very decorative, you can say, career, and he is a recipient of Vishisht Seva Medal from Indian Army. I think that itself, says something. It's not not everyone can get that kind of medal. So let me talk to Colonel Ajay Singh, and then he will talk about his journey, and then we will discuss about various aspects of large and complex projects. So welcome to this show.
Thanks, Abhijit. Uh, Thank you very much for the opportunity that you've given me to talk to people. As far as my background is concerned, I graduated from the National Defense Academy and then finally got my commission as a second lieutenant from Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. I was commissioned in the Corps of Engineers in 1974. So that's my beginning. And after having served about 32 years in the Corps of Engineers of the Indian Army, I, I retired. And thereafter, I had my second career into the corporate world and to be precise in the real estate company. I worked with initially with Reliance, then with Hiranandani, then with the Lavasa project, and now last was project was Palava. It was a greenfield project starting from scratch.
So let me tell the audience about the Lavasa project. Again, Lavasa was considered as one of the largest project. I mean, Indian people knows about the Lavasa project, and he was handling that project. And after that, this is another project. So you can see the kind of project, like kind of experience he's carrying with him. So we are very fortunate to have him on this show. So let me ask you the first question is that you handled such a large project and I was part of this journey. I saw your journey as a some professional. So one question I would like to ask is that for such a large and complex projects, when it is such a kind of a township project, what kind of challenges you encountered and how you handled that? You know, so
So Abhijit, let me tackle this question in two parts. One is the challenges that the real estate industry, construction industry faces today, and second part will be the challenges faced by while executing the large-scale project like Palava. Now, as you are aware, the construction industry is still recognized industry, though it is second largest only to agriculture. Because since it is not recognized industry, we have our own challenges of the industry. For example, we don't have a structured training for our supervisors, for our labor. The contractors are not very professional. So that is one part of the challenge that we have, of the industry one. Second question you asked me about the Palava. Now, Palava project is a very large project. Just to give you the propensity of the project, and let me also correct you, it was not 6,000 apartments. We handed 8,000 apartments in a
wow,
year, and finally this project is about 15,000 plus apartments project.
wow, excellent.
There was a time when we were handing over almost 700 flats per month,
Wow.
right? So that is the largeness and propensity of the project. Now, coming to the challenges that one will face, not only me, anybody who's getting this kind of a project. So I started this project, just me and one more uh, engineer was given to me to start the project. So the first challenge that was there is how to do team building, to build up a team from 1+1 to 1+500 engineers, right? So we had the problem of cultural differences because we took people from other companies. Every company had a different culture to follow, a different ethics to follow, different methodologies to conduct. So the team building and to build the entire team on one platform and to standardize the whole system was one of the challenges. Next challenge was the logistics building. Now, obviously, if it is a 400 acres, 500 acres project, you can't just start, closing your eyes. You have to plan a lot. You have to plan the project execution strategy so that the while the project is started, it should not stop at any point of time, right? So you have to plan for the water requirement, construction water requirement. You have to plan for construction power requirement. You have to plan for the concrete requirement. You have to plan for the labor requirement,
Right.
right? Accommodation for them, and then the infrastructure part.
Right.
So many vehicles moving. How do you manage the traffic? So just to give you an example, when we were in the initial stages of construction, we started with a conventional system of construction. But then we soon realized that this is going to take a long time. And we decided after a year or so that we must go for a more mechanized way of construction. And that's the time when we imported 45 aluminum shuttering sets, what is popularly known as my one sets.
Right.
So just imagine 45 vehicle truck loads, trailer loads coming, each set having about 6 trucks, 6 multiplied by 45. All these trucks coming in the month of July when peak of rainy season, where to unload the store, where to stack the stores, and traffic movement, etc. This itself was a great challenge. So if I now, so these are the basic problems, but then we took almost 6 months to prepare our project execution strategy.
Very
And
important. Correct.
every
Agree.
requirement was well documented, well worked out. And before the project started, I take pride in saying that every bit of the construction, pre-construction activity was completed in time, and therefore that is why this project went so smoothly.
Yeah, so you can see the what are the key success factors, extremely detailed planning, and that's the key, for such a large project. So just the entire team took 6 months to prepare for that. So the you can see the importance of planning, and thanks really, because we are seeing the results. Like, it's not that they have the team has delivered so many 8,000 flats. Delivering along with such a large infrastructure is not a joke. People are not able to deliver even few, even 10 flats in a month. Okay, where 700 delivering 700 flats in a month is not at all a joke. So my next question to you is, because for such a large projects, typically man management or people management is the biggest challenge, because you have so many contractors working with you, so subordinates, and then suppliers, and then of course local community. The stakeholder management, you can say, is the biggest challenge. So can you throw some light on that, like how exactly you handle that?
So, Abhijit, when we talk about people management, right, it involves the entire ecosystem, right?
Okay.
Be it the top management,
Mm-hmm.
be it our peers,
Right.
subordinates,
Mm-hmm.
vendors, suppliers, right, or our associates or the labor, most important.
Uh-huh.
Now, let me start from the top. So, every organization has got a vision,
Right.
right? For example, LODHA has got a vision building a better life,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a very progressive and thoughtful vision,
Mm-hmm.
a very dynamic vision,
Mm-hmm.
and which constantly undergoes review.
Okay.
Building a better life. Better means itself means every day there has to be betterment,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Agree.
So every organization has to think that the vision should transcend the words,
Mm-hmm.
right? It should not end up in just being a slogan,
Correct.
right?
Agree. Agree.
This has to transcend words and percolate to the last man in the trench.
Mm-hmm.
What this company is about,
Mm-hmm.
right? We should not tell them what to do. We should tell them why you are here.
Uh-huh.
And if
Correct.
the once they understand why they are here for this particular cause,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes part of their dream.
Right.
Once that is done, as far as the people management, as for the associates are concerned, or the people working in the company are concerned, that's
Mm-hmm.
managed. The
Right.
moment they understand why they are here,
Mm-hmm.
right, it is done. So that part is that everybody has to work towards the vision. It has to translate into a strategy, and
Correct.
finally come down to the last man,
Uh-huh.
right? That he is doing a job which he is appreciated about, and it is his project and not company's project.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
this is, if that is done, the people management is.
Aligning with the vision is very important.
Similarly,
Correct. Agree.
you must consider your vendors, your suppliers, your other stakeholders part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
We must treat them like they are important to us, and
Mm-hmm.
they are important, and we are important to them.
Right.
So they should form part of the team. Once they form part of the team, again the entire system is managed.
Right. Right. Agree.
Right.
Agree.
So that's
So
how we
in
should.
this process, like what I can see is the communication is the biggest, challenge, or you can say is one of the most important critical element for the stakeholder management.
Yeah, yeah.
How exactly you manage that kind of communication?
See, communications uh, per se, I have, in the army when we work, and I have made three simple points for better communication.
Uh-huh.
And I call it the model of PTT.
Okay.
Okay, P stands for preparation,
Mm-hmm.
T is timely,
Mm-hmm.
and the second T is tone.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Right. So if you want to communicate with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you got to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't go and blur something.
Okay.
Right. You got to prepare because this is an opportunity given to you
Uh-huh.
to project yourself,
Correct.
to interact with the people,
Uh-huh.
right? So be aware of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
be aware of the party who is listening to it,
Okay. Uh-huh.
right? So you have to be like in army, we say, खुद को जानो और दुश्मन के बारे में भी जानो,
Okay.
right? Of course, the other
Mm-hmm.
party is not dushman,
Mm-hmm.
but the analogy is same.
Okay. Okay.
That you should know whom I am speaking to
Uh-huh.
and what I am supposed to be speaking.
Uh-huh.
If somebody tells me talk about rocket science, I'll
Uh-huh.
say sorry, I know myself, I can't talk about rocket. Right?
Okay.
So I should know about myself,
Uh-huh.
and I should also know about the audience whom I'm speaking to,
Okay.
as to whether they are ready to receive what I'm going to tell. So
Right.
this
Right.
is one part of that's preparation.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Uh-huh.
Next comes the timely.
Uh-huh.
So you must make sure that the person who is listening to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to keep his mental frame, his physical frame, his compassion in mind. Whether should you talk to him now or not,
Right. Uh-huh.
right? You should not talk out of turn.
Uh-huh.
Now you should talk only in your turn. So this is timely,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then comes the tone. Tone means how you're going to talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So tone, I can't be very rude to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be too polite to somebody.
Right.
So tone modulation also is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep these three points in mind,
Mm-hmm.
the preparation, time,
Mm-hmm.
and the tone, I
Mm-hmm.
think you'll be good communicator.
Mm-hmm.
This also holds good for communicating through mails,
Mm-hmm.
communicating in writing,
Mm-hmm.
same points.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, I think your communication skills will definitely be good.
Yeah, because whenever I used to visit a site, I used to see you interacting with subcontractors and then team members, and there was a very structured way of communication. I think one of the second key success factor I can say is the communication. One was of course planning, second is the communication. uh, Another aspect which I would like to ask you about is, what is the role of project management techniques or technology which you uniquely used on in this project?
So to basically, I used, the 8 cardinal points
Mm-hmm.
I devised for my team,
Uh-huh.
which I used to start every meeting or everywhere and made sure that my team understands it and implements it.
Okay.
The 8 cardinal points were: first, start with, think one up, plan two down.
Okay. Oh, very good.
That means
Mm-hmm.
you have to think as your higher up or your boss is thinking,
Uh-huh.
and plan two down.
Uh-huh.
Up to that extent, if you plan, then only you can, see the project holistically.
Uh-huh.
Right. The next cardinal point was, if you fail to plan,
Mm-hmm.
you are planning for failure.
Extremely good. Yeah.
Right. So you
Right.
have to plan. Right. You have to
Mm-hmm.
plan
Mm-hmm.
well. Otherwise, you are planning for failure.
Right. Right.
Next cardinal point is, do the right things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Don't do the wrong things. Don't
Mm-hmm.
spend time on doing the wrong things. Do the right things. Next will be, do it right first time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. If you don't have time to do it right first time, how will you get time to do next time or rework?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right. So to bring in efficiency, productivity, effectiveness, you have to do it right first time. Right.
Right.
The next cardinal point is, do it in the right sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Very important to do. Make sure that your activities are done in the right sequence. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to rework again.
Right. Right. Right.
The other cardinal point is that nothing is done unless you get it done. In
Right.
my project, it was a rule that nobody will say, "Sir, I told him and he didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do?" So the point was only one, that nothing is done unless you get it
Mm-hmm.
done. Right?
Correct.
In spite of doing all this, after all, we are human people, there certain things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So the last point is that please learn from your mistakes and don't repeat it. Say
Mm-hmm.
never again. So learn, you make mistakes, learn from it, and don't repeat it. So these are, if you follow these 8 cardinal points, it holds true for everyone. If you
Right.
do
So.
this, you will have productivity increase, you will have your efficiencies increase, and you'll, I call it quest for excellence.
Right. So these are, see, the techniques which he just mentioned about is the first time right, which Japanese companies and many management companies in manufacturing, it is very common that first time right. But then in project management, doing first time right is extremely important because rework is extremely high in
Yes,
construction.
exactly.
And I think if we can avoid that, the productivity will naturally will improve, and that is one of the very important technique which he mentioned. Another is that, like, I think whenever I used to visit, I think I've seen the application of some of the technologies, like using Microsoft Project or Primavera, all these various tools. I think I have seen your team was using it
Yes.
extensively for monitoring the projects.
Yeah.
Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, so use of any of the modern techniques, electronics, or packages that we have is very important.
Mm-hmm.
This will bring in preciseness.
Mm-hmm.
You plan well, like we are working on Primavera as well as PMS, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, when you do a plan on a package, you're you're likely to make lesser mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So you plan well, you can always update the plan, you can crash the plan if
Mm-hmm.
should something go wrong. Like resources, you can build up resources, you can ramp up resources through the
Mm.
planning. So it's very important that you use the modern technologies to, at least in the planning part, is very important.
Right, right.
Right.
Another important point which I'm coming to, I mean, the most important, that how your defense background
Yeah.
has helped, because you are also giving a lot of examples from defense and your techniques from this one. So I think this is a very important and valid point for the user, the listeners, that what and how exactly, like, which are the some of the techniques which you must have used in defense. Because whenever I used to give a lecture in the LODHA, the team members, he always used to come and give some examples from his defense background, and then those were really very helpful. So can you just throw some light on that?
So Abhijit, actually my journey has been very interesting. From from a war room to a boardroom, and now to a classroom, because now I'm director of the LODHA Development Center.
Yeah, so this is very important. Like, after doing defense and then handling such a large project, now just recently he has taken the responsibility as a director of LODHA Development Center, which is the big initiative LODHA has initiated. And today we are sitting in this development center, and I'm very happy and very proud that I'm sitting in this room. And then he actually showed me a lot of facilities here, and those are really amazing. Okay, so please.
Yeah. So people do ask me that how has been your transition from army life to civil life. To them, I tell only one thing, right? War is also a project if you really look at it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is got a start date,
Right.
it's got a series of activities,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got an end date.
Right.
And the aim is to ensure that there are least amount of casualty and you finally win the war,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, if you take a project,
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, project is also a war. It's a war against time.
Mm-hmm.
It's war against quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's war against cost.
Correct.
So there is very similarity. And here also you want to do things right first time,
Right.
right? To make sure that
Yeah,
there's
you
no
can't go wrong.
right. So no wastages. You want to
Mhm.
there we want to reduce the casualty. Here you want to reduce the wastages.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a very similarity. Therefore, it was not a big shift from me from war room to the corporate world. What called
Correct.
boardroom.
Correct. Agree.
And also the very one of the very famous saying in army is one man, one bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So resource is very important. There's a resource will always be scarce. So you can't waste two bullets for one man. One man, one bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly here, you have to do it right first time.
Mhm.
Don't waste your resources.
Correct. Correct.
Right?
Agree.
So these are the things. Another thing which I tell my team is, that if you bleed during peacetime, you will not. Sorry, the other way around. If you sweat during peacetime, you will not bleed during war.
Wow.
Right? So if you sweat during peacetime, you don't bleed during war, which means that you have to prepare yourself. You want to cut a tree, first grind your axe.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Then you will cut the tree more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you have to plan well, you have to execute well, you have to use your resources well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this
Right.
is what we have learned from army life. Resources will always be at premium. Use them very judiciously.
Correct, correct,
Right.
correct, correct. So the learning from this entire interaction is that use your resources very effectively, and to do that you have to do a good amount of planning,
Yes.
not just start the work, but doing the good amount of planning. Use the best techniques, use best technology whichever is available, and then only you can get the results. The fantastic, fabulous results you are seeing here, and that is the best learning from this interaction. And I think thank you so much. And think one interview is not sufficient. We may come back with the another interview, but thank you so much.
I would just like to add
Yeah,
before you
please,
finally
please.
thank me, is
Sure.
that every organization has got two dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
One is the cultural dimension, and the other is the technical dimension.
Okay.
Most of the organization work very hard towards the development of the cultural dimension.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to do this, how to do that, and how to
Mhm.
interact, teamwork. Is important, but the technical dimension is somehow overlooked, and we do not invest much in this.
Okay.
So that is how, thinking that this was a very uh, requirement of the day,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that our assets are developed constantly. To
Mhm.
take up the new role, we've started this LODHA Development Center,
Mm-hmm.
wherein we want to harness and brush up their technical knowledge also,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Okay.
that when they are the ones who are going to actually do, if you expect them to do things right first time,
Mhm.
firstly they must know how to do it right,
Right.
right? So this every organization, I must tell them, to
Mhm.
not only invest in the cultural development, but
Mhm.
also the technical development
Mhm.
of their engineers, of their labor force, and the entire ecosystem.
Right.
So
Correct.
this
Correct.
part is also very important. I wanted to just emphasize that.
Agree, agree. So before closing the interview, I would like to ask three things which you would like to tell the audience, because our audience is mainly project professionals. So we have already gone through. I mean, you have already expressed so many things. But what are the three things you would like to say to the audience?
Right. I mean, to the leaders, whether they are middle class, middle level leaders, or the high leaders. The principles remain same, right? And I would, tell about it is not invented by me, but I have also learned it and I practice it. Is the three H.
Okay.
First head, it is the head,
Uh-huh.
right? Then is your heart, and then is your hand,
Oh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So those leaders who are working through their heart are more compassionate, right? And they are making sure that people is also taking along. The leaders who work only through their head are more target oriented. They don't care much for the people,
People, correct, correct.
right? And hence, the people who are doing on the hands, which I said, if you remember that song, Sati Haath Badhana, Sati Re,
Correct.
right? So they will roll up their sleeve and they'll come with you. What you call leading from the front, right? They will come, work hard. So they will also they will go to the planning and all, but they will not, probably they are not that compassionate. As a leader, I think you should be a wholesome leader who thinks from his head, right? But keeps compassion of people at his heart, and also gives a helping hand and leads from the front. To them, I'll say, please use all these three H's to when you are doing a leadership, when you're preparing yourself as a leader, then you will be a complete leader.
Super. I think we have learned so many things from Colonel Ajay Singh that I'm every time whenever I'm meeting him, I'm always learning something new. And I think today I was able to get this interaction through him, and then I'm very sure that project professionals will learn from this interaction. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ajit.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thanks.
And it has been a good association with you. I have interacted with you in my when I was handling Palava project, and my associates learned a lot from you and benefited from your most motivational lectures, your technical lectures, and I'm looking forward to more of it in the LODHA Development Center too.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much.